Back to the road. That's where the playoffs have taken us, folks. We've come down Tobacco Road to be exact, and, well, we may have taken the oddest route possible to get here, but we made it. Welcome to North Kakalaki, Thursday night under the lights and championship dreams in sight. We'll do it live now. Hello, and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel's presentation of the AdPro 360 Cup Series Playoffs. Tonight, from the Roval at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Up in the press box to bring you all the action, well, it's me, Sean Ambrose, and my partner this evening is Justin Prince. Tanner Sharp on assignment for us this evening. Thanks for being here, Justin. In the director's chair over there, Joe Peak twisting and tweaking the dials for us this evening, armed with cameras located, aimed, zoomed, and focused by our one and only camera guru, Dougie Beard. Now, let's get ready over these next few minutes as GSRC will bring you all the storylines and all the stats and facts you need to fully appreciate the simulated NASCAR Cup racing that is coming your way. Justin, it's time to slip off into the deep, dark night here on the Roval at Charlotte Motor Speedway. This should present a few challenges for the drivers tonight. What can you tell us about the track?
Thank you very much, Sean. There's a heck of a lot of challenges to face tonight when it comes to the Charlotte Roval. 12 total turns, 2.25 miles for the drivers to face here on Concord. So far in warm-ups tonight, the practice times have been ranging from 1 minute, 4 seconds and 4 tenths to as slow as the 1 minute and 7 second mark on the racetrack. But this track is going to have a lot of challenges, of course. The first being turn number 1. Because with that turn 1, that includes drivers and warm-ups going as fast as possible in the corners and either running to the back of cars going into the brakes early or sliding hard into the turn 1 wall. As well, you have the pit exit where drivers are going to come directly into the racing line at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So multiple challenges alone just in that turn 1. You also have no lighting towards the road course section of the racetrack. Drivers can see on that track, but it's going to be that extra little bit more challenging to be able to hit your marks on the circuit. One last note, this circuit does not include the bus stop in the final corner for the Roval that will be used in real life. But with that, the best way to get an idea of what this place is really all about is to jump on board and take a lap. Let's take a look at your GSRC lap guide.
Alright, coming up to turn 1, watch this outside wall at the exit. It's gonna come up fast, and there have been and will be lots of guys who grab a face full of concrete if they push just a bit too hard. Keep it to the left and set it up for 3 and 4. This is a fast right-hander with lots of banking, but it's essentially one corner just with 2 apexes. You can go pretty far past the line on this second apex, but be careful about those cut course penalties. Watch the grass on the outside. Easy to spin the car if you dip a wheel off. Then comes 5. Drivers who get greedy are going to face the wrath of that big inside curb. Slow it down for 6 and stay tight to the right, up on over the crest, and then it's a little lift coming into 7 and get back on the power. Honestly, 7 is the most crucial corner on the track because as you can see, it leads back onto the oval. Wait too long and you lose a ton of speed. Be careful though, if you push wide and get into the grass, that fence is very unforgiving. Now that we're on the oval, it's a matter of staying on the low line. Guys will be playing mind games the whole race since the draft will allow the slower drivers to keep up with the faster ones. The canny ones will use it for a last lap snipe. This track is Daytona-esque with the crazy and close finishes that almost always seem to happen. So honestly, you actually don't want to be in the front at the end of the race. This was Richard Losper in the GSRC MX-5, and that was a lap around Charlotte's road course.
Okay, so we had a little problem with our brand new Camaro ZL1. Somebody dropped the keys down into the drain here in the pit, in the infield here in the pit area, and we couldn't get the car out there for a lap guide for you. So I'm sorry. What we did was we always carry the MX-5 with us. This is the first car we had, so we took a lap around. We showed you what getting around this course is like. It's going to be a little bit different in this Cup car this evening. In fact, we've got the new Camaro ZL1 on track with the Chevrolet SS. So both are going to be competing till the end of the season. Of course, the Ford and the Toyota here. We don't leave them out, but several of the drivers are taking on the Camaro this evening. In fact, we've got lone qualifying going on right now, and Andrew Payne just went to the top in his Camaro, and check that. Alan Elwood just went to the top in his Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. So there we go. And that qualifying, like I said, going on right now. It's one lap, single car, lone qualifying this evening. They want everybody to get that qualifying lap in the first 5 minutes of the session. Now, while we're waiting for them to qualify, why don't we head on over to the points real quick and get everybody up to speed as we get ready to start the second race of round one here. And Andrew Farnyards with that win last week, of course, and the bonus points from the stage wins, that gets him clearly up in first right now, 91 points to the good here over his competitor David Washington. Now, these four drivers with those playoff points are right now sitting pretty good to make it into the top 8 as we head towards the second round of the playoffs. Only 8 will advance. And here you see the rest. Sexton in 5th, Regan, William Moore, Alan Elwood, who did pick up some bonus points himself, down there in 8th. And it's Cameron, Stanford, Payne, and Locklear all sit there out on the bubble right now. Cameron and Payne especially would need some help. Again, if you've been with us, you've been following this, a win gets you into the next round of the playoffs. Justin, why don't you go ahead and talk about the details of the race this evening?
Yes, thank you very much, Sean. When it comes to details, as mentioned, it's the second race in total of the postseason so far for the playoffs. 7 playoff races in total with 2 rounds of 6, with the final round being the championship race. With this series, there are fixed setups, but there is a fuel limit of 80% for tonight's Roval race. Tonight's tire allotment is also 5 sets. That includes the 4 tires on the car. What that means is you have 16 pairs of tires, or overall tires rather, set up in the pit boxes ready to go. So let's say you decide to take 2 tires for one stop. You'll still have those extra 2 tires for that kind of situation. You have also 2 caused incidents tonight from drivers, leading to a disqualification. Also, the road course rules, only yellow flag tonight will be for the stage cautions. You'll also have the green-white checkered as a possibility tonight, meaning if the race finishes under yellow, the top 10 drivers will have 1 attempt for a green-white checkered, going green after the pace car pulls in from the victory lap. Sean?
All right, and just one small tweak there, okay? The race control can throw the caution flag if the track gets stacked up. We've already identified a couple of areas on this track that could be trouble this evening. One of them could be turn 1, coming down there, having to make that left-hand turn into the road course itself is very hairy. You miss your braking zone, you may wind up in the end of that wall that enters into that road course. A couple other tricky spots on track once you get inside that road course. One of them is as you get back onto the track, there's a fence there, a gate, if you will, and well, it doesn't give, it doesn't collapse like a normal gate would. It could bring some pretty heavy damage to your car. So there are definitely opportunities for this track to get stacked up at certain points, but one of the other advantages of this track is, well, once you get to the inside of it, there are a lot of grass runoff areas that'll, of course, cost you time, but not necessarily cost your car with damage. We got, let's see, it looks like just about everybody has gotten a qualifying lap in here. I see Dylan Jones is out on track right now. He hasn't scored a lap yet. I think he's on his out lap right now. Okay, he has been out for multiple laps, so don't know if he's going to be able to get a lap in here. We've got 3.5 minutes left. Tires, let's look at the weather here real quick and kind of get an idea what the tire situation is going to be this evening. Guess what? It's not going to be bad at all here. In fact, I think you'll probably finish this race with a set or 2 in your pocket. So if we get a caution late, Justin, it's possible that they may want to do something. The wind is gusting a little bit. I guess when you get to the rise in the infield there, you know, this was built on an old rock hill basically in the center of this track, and that's where you get the elevation change from. It's off camber. Certainly the wind, if it comes across strongly, it could make a difference in the car and maybe even get you off the course into that dirt. And the dirt is a real problem, because once you get off in that dirt and that turf over there, it just seems to suck you in and keep the car going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, it absolutely can be. And Jones, you can see how much his car's beat up alone just trying to get himself prepared for this Roval race again with, as you mentioned, the front stretch, as well as that said dirt. Because it's going to be absolutely challenging, I think, once the green flag flies, to make sure that you don't run into someone, say, in front of you, even with the wind right now, because there's some drivers who are going to take this course very carefully, especially that turn 1 section. If you're going in there, say, at full speed, 180 miles per hour, trying to then get down to about 100, and you have the driver in front of you braking about an extra, say, 10 feet earlier, that could lead to Calamity Corner once we get things going here tonight.
Yes, Justin, it certainly can. And, well, I'll tell you what, it looks like Andrew Farnyar's, it looks like he may be safe, but look at the difference that we have. If you can see that on screen now, well, it's not there yet, but when it catches up, you'll see Farnyar is on the pole right now. They're only separated by 6 one-thousandths of a second, him and Ryan Hill. And Ryan had just overtaken Andrew there in the late part of practice there, Justin.
Yeah, because prior to that, Hill on his first lap had turned a 104.8, then bumped it up to a 104.4 in the final stages of practice. So it's, again, when it comes to road courses, there's just the little extra bits where you can get an extra few tenths. Tonight could be very interesting to see who's able to utilize the best parts of the racetrack while making sure they don't lose a lot of time in that road course portion of the racetrack, because it could be the difference between finishing in the top 3 and finishing outside the top 10.
All right, Justin, I think we're pretty safe at this point. I think it is time to award our Sim Speed Shop Pole Award to Andrew Farnyars, and he's going to get another one this season. And boy, he's picked up quite a few of those this year, and that's going to net him another $5 for this award. And you know, the person with the most Sim Speed Shop poles at the end of the season will win $20. But Andrew Farnyar is going to win that $5 tonight, and going to win for every 2 poles. But he's got several of them this season. But we can go ahead and go to the starting grid now, because practice qualifying is over, and it is time to get ready to go green here. Andrew Farnyar is going to be on the pole. Ryan Hill going to complete that first row with him. And in row 2 is going to be Alan Elwood and Andrew Payne in the number 93 tonight. Row 6, that's going to be Kyle Kammer, Gary Sexton. And in row 4 is going to be Eric Stanford, Gabe Wood. Justin, why don't you take the rest of the field?
Thank you very much. Of course, Colton Salek will start in the 9th spot to end off the top 10, along with William Locklear, with Richard Regan Jr. trying to pick up some extra time after recording a 106.8 in the 11th spot. He'll start alongside Gerald Campbell. The last driver to record a lap time tonight for the Roval race is David Washington with a 107.6. He'll start in 13th. Dylan Jones, Ethan Moore, Daniel Eberhardt, and Jesse Abraham will round out the 17 drivers who will test themselves on this Roval tonight.
And test themselves indeed. The drivers have had practice sessions all week to get ready, and well, we hope everybody's ready tonight, Justin, because this course will take a little bit out of you. There are no free repairs in this series. You don't get a spare car to work with, so everybody going to need to be on point this evening and be on their best behavior here. As we get started, the cars roll off. We'll take just one lap around here, and then we'll let them go out of turn 4. And the scramble to turn 1 will be on. Now, this is a Roval course. Roval meaning it's part road, part oval. Obviously, this course has no turn name, so bear with us as we will give you turn 1 all the way through turn 12, which is the exit of turn 4. Turn 1, of course, will be the left-hander down just past the pit exit there. So here we go, everybody down on that inside Roval section now.
And remember, those turn quarter names, pardon me there, Sean, NASCAR 1, 2, 3, 4 when it comes to essentially the exit out of the Roval and the rest of the way around the course. So if you hear NASCAR 1, 2, 3, and 4, that is the references to that for the final portions of the racetrack. That is turns 9, 10, 11, 12 for this Roval circuit.
Right, exactly. And why don't we check the race analysis here real quick, and we'll take a look at that. Tonight, of course, 60 laps here, and we've got 3 stages like we've had all season. 10 laps, 15 laps, 35 laps, and we're looking at about a 25 to 30 lap fuel run. But here we go. They work their way down the back stretch. We have the roof pace car on track this evening, leading them down. That's appropriate. Have a road car for a road racing event here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Farnyards and that familiar number 88 Exalta Ford ready to go. The Hill Coast Chevrolet up on the outside. He stayed in his SS. Ryan Hill's had a great season in that car and didn't want to upset the apple cart. Maybe a little superstition involved with that. But the lights are out on the roof pace car as we get ready to go here. And it's Hill on the outside. And again, Andrew Farnyards on the inside. We watch that roof as it gets ready to take that left-hand turn down to the pit lane. It's off, and we wait for the green flag. Slowly approaching, and here we go. We're mean green and underway down to turn 1. Farnyards, Hill get off to an amazing start. Elwood sleeping on the start. He holds everybody up behind him. Sexton battling back there, but we are line astern into turn 2 and now down to turn 3.
A pretty clean start for the restart for sure. Other than Elwood, who looked to maybe miss a shift as soon as he was trying to go there. That's how much he checked up. He's going to let by Payne immediately on the racetrack to get himself back up to third quickly.
Yeah, Payne had some kind of problem. He got on the radio, told everybody to get by. Farnyards gets off to a great start. Hill dead in his tracks, though, up front as they get back onto the oval. NASCAR 2 coming down the back stretch. Wow, Farnyards is just screaming away from the rest of the field. Now almost 3 seconds.
Yeah, he's really utilizing that clean air. Remember, when it comes to this, to the oval portion, it's basically like driving on the Charlotte circuit. Farnyards already off to a great start here, lead lap 1. But again, this is where a lot of drivers' days will be made. Ryan Hill already keeping up just based on the braking alone.
Yeah, I'm watching the entire field make this trip through turn 1 at speed for the first time. Most everybody getting it right. In fact, I've got all the drivers getting through there right now. So the entire field makes it through turn 1 at speed for the first time. But right now, it's really, really tough up front because Andrew Farnyards continues to stretch this lead. Ryan Hill done a really, really good job to hang with him here. But everybody else kind of sleeping on it right now. Kyle Cameron chasing Alan Elwood. Here's the battle for P9, Justin.
And that's getting very dicey. They are side by side heading into the first corners of the Roval portion of the track, already avoiding some smoke and gravel coming up onto NASCAR 1. So this is where a lot of the battles are starting up right now. Washington trying to recover from a bad turn number 1 on the racetrack. Salek trying to hold on to Campbell, who has the draft down the backstretch.
When Hill must have made a mistake, he's now dropped to almost 2 seconds. As Farnyards gets back around, and he's now through turn 1.
Yeah, looking back right now at what Hill did, I think he lost a lot of time being more cautious in the Roval portion of the racetrack. But look at how tough it is for some of these drivers in the middle of the pack around that ninth spot. How they're dicing it up. You continue to see how the top 3 spread on out, but everything continues to get on close as Locklear lets by Regan.
Yeah, and then just behind them, it's really intense with Salek and Campbell and Washington. You got Eberhardt and Ethan Moore. Eberhardt just getting by Ethan Moore. They're still side by side. Yeah, boy, and I'll tell you what, that car was loose. The number 23 there, struggling, Ethan Moore. He's going to lose that time now. Oh, watch out. The 90 almost up into the wall. Daniel Eberhardt really wild back on the oval.
And that transition to try and make sure you don't have too much weight transferring when you get back on the racetrack is going to be still difficult for some drivers to make sure they don't snap loose. In that case, Eberhardt are able to just stabilize it there, but he's much faster compared to the drivers around and the ones that are side by side heading into turn 1.
Spinning, Eric Stanford spinning, going out into turn 1. He missed the braking zone. Several other cars getting in way too hot as they all get by him. We avoid trouble, but the caution flag is out nonetheless. Our first caution flag of the night, lap 4. And here we go. He's just going to get in too hot. He's going to miss his mark, and he is going to get those brakes locked up. The car is going to come around, and amazingly enough, everybody is able to get by here. And that good work there. Good work by the field, missing him, but that does bring out our first caution of the race tonight.
We talked about a little bit how difficult and how dangerous turn 1's going to be tonight. In that case, just too much speed heading into the corner. Multiple drivers, again, came very close to hitting that because, as you see, right after he went off towards those cones, 2 or 3 different drivers also locked up the brakes and went wide into the corner as well, avoiding contact. The 23, the 90, that is involving Eberhardt, involving those drivers that missed him. Ethan Moore also missing. So again, that is going to be emphasizing how difficult this will be to go from 180 to as slow as the drivers need to go to get into turn number 1, to get to the Roval to the road course portion.
Yeah, Justin, and I tell you what, I think these cautions tonight, when we get them, they may take a little bit because they're still trying to catch up to the pace car, which has now just entered the backstretch. Andrew Farnyar's just get into turn 1, and boy, they are spread out all the way back into the beginning of the infield.
Yeah, still half the field, in fact, is in the infield. But for Farnyards, that means a 2.4 second lead evaporates just like that because of the caution flag. This will be the interesting portion. We talked about again about the tire allotments. How many drivers will use an early set in just 5 laps? That's going to be a question mark, a question of who is going to try and prioritize that little extra bit of tire wear rather.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna see anybody come down here. I'll be surprised. I think they're gonna play it straight up here. Hold on to your position. Hope for a good restart. I don't know what's gonna need to get moving this time. Does look like Eberhardt is coming in.
Yeah, he's the only one, in fact, coming in. So this was the question of who is going to try and prioritize that. Remember, he almost got loose. I think that might be some of the launch of the question is to me, will he take 2 or will he take 4 as he's in his pit box?
All right, so Eberhardt maybe looking to just get a better start, go in, wipe the slate clean. Let's give it another shot here.
Yeah, he took 4 tires just now, so he just is the first driver to use one of their non-start of the race tire allotment. So that's going to be a little experiment really with the 90 because he was near the back of the field at the start of the race and now has the freshest tires on the racetrack. But again, it's going, I don't know, maybe a little stage strategy too, remember here, Sean, because the stage caution, I believe, is just in a few laps away from now.
That's correct. The first stage is 10, and we have 15 in the second, and then that monster stage at the end of 35 laps, so you certainly don't need fuel. Boy, right here on the pace lap, the Daniel Eberhardt almost wiped out trying to catch back up to the field. That's the other thing that you've got to be very, very careful about here when you get that far back from the field. But here we go. The pace car now is coming out of turn 2. Is going to lead him down the backstretch. The lights are off. Hopefully the roof pace car driver has recovered from the first time he pulled off the track. So I don't know if he's racking up any style points. I heard that was a pretty ugly entrance on the pit road there for our roof pace car driver. But Andrew Farnyar is going to start from the outside this time. Ryan Hill will be on the inside, and, well, that should present an interesting scenario as we get down to turn 1.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Who's going to take this very strong? Who's going to take this cautiously, especially with the line? I'm curious to see if Farnyards will be able to make the outside restart line work, but he should be able to get, based on the line, to single file once we get to that set corner.
Well, he gets to start the field, and he gets to do it now because the roof pace car has pulled off. We're waiting for that green flag, and so is Andrew Farnyards, and he's on the hammer. Back underway here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. A couple cars back there getting really slow off the start, but Farnyards with absolutely no trouble getting into turn 1. Trouble into turn 1. Car is scrambling all over the place. And the caution's back out.
Holy cow, Sean. 4 different drivers locked it up. Gary Sexton, William Locklear, Jesse Abraham, and Andrew Payne all locked it up. Take a look at your GSRC replay. This started off with Sexton moving into the center of the quad oval at Charlotte. Then you have on top of that the 4 who had a botched start. Then, as they enter turn 1, you already have Sexton in the grass. Then you have the 93 in the grass. Then you have the 4 double up the bad start by going straight into the grass as well. So already back under caution because 4 different drivers locked it up at about the same time.
And, you know, one of the things you're going to see here is the pace car. Well, maybe not from Sexton's camera, but the pace car never got a chance to park. It winds up just coming right through pit lane, and I think you'll see it go by. There it is. It goes right by and immediately back onto the track. But Sexton avoids a bad one there. And right now, you've got cars on track going at close to full speed trying to catch this pace car again. And I got to tell you, man, you're going to have to watch that this evening. You're going to have to be careful because you get boogieing too hard on a caution flag, you make a mistake, crack this car up, and you won't finish this race tonight.
Yeah, right now I don't understand the logic with some of the drivers where they locked it up that aggressively off the restart. Yes, I know it was off the restart on some worn tires a little bit, but you got to think you would be at least a slight bit cautious there for the restart and then maybe push once you get back towards single file and up to full speed. It's at least a lucky job by some of the drivers to avoid making contact with everyone as they went around. They're still going to have to catch this pace car. It's all the way in NASCAR turn 3.
Boy, Farnyard's up to full speed down the backstretch. Now he's on the binders here, slowing the car up. He's caught the pace car now. And the rest of the field still got a ways to go here. All right. Well, here we go, man. Andrew Farnyard still in the lead. Ryan Hill still in the lead. Right now, the pace car leads all laps this evening. And, well, we'll get... we've got a couple of guys going to pit lane. Washington and Jones are in. And you know, on that last restart, Gerald Campbell actually got an end-of-line penalty. He's been issued an end-of-line penalty because he changed lanes before the start-finish line. So Gerald going to be starting all the way at the back this time. But we've got several takers down to the pit lane. Washington, Jones, Campbell, Andrew Payne, Jesse Abraham.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with this getting near the end of the stage. And as well, some of these drivers being the ones that locked up the brakes. So I don't think they want to risk getting back on the racetrack, as I think David Washington just missed the pit exit and just missed turn 1.
Oh, I see that 98 sitting down there. That wasn't good.
Yeah, and meanwhile, everyone else behind him is thinking, what the heck's going on? Look at what Washington did here. Remember, I don't think he was used to this. And he just... pardon me.
He forgot to put his... Go ahead.
He absolutely forgot that we're on the Roval and not on the oval. Just, I think, a pattern of being used to exiting the pits that way.
Hey, Justin, sometimes we're creatures of habit, man. And you know, he probably didn't have his blinker on. He forgot to put the blinker on, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and apparently someone else followed him. Dylan Jones almost followed him in the exact same line, too. But, hey, at least they're back on the racetrack, and it looks like they may keep their position despite that.
All right, well, the lights are off on the roof again. The tail of the field just now getting in here. They're coming to a full head of steam. And, all right, now starting to stack up here at the back. Everybody trying to get in order where they're supposed to be. Paying attention to their iRacing spotter that's telling him, you need to be ahead of the 19, ahead of the 19. All right, here we go. They've hit the commit line into turn 3. Still don't have the field lined up side by side. Everybody's still trying to get in position here. Look for Farnyards to do the same thing out of turn 4. He'll lead this field down, and boy, he got on a tremendous jump on that last restart. Can he do it again? Roof is off. Farnyards is gone. Back down to the start-finish line and down to turn 1. He gets to do it solo. Behind him, Ryan Hill, Kyle Cameron, Alan Elwood, all trying to get there first. Gary Sexton throwing it in there. I'm sorry, that was Ethan Moore. Moore gets into the back of Cameron. Almost sends Cameron around. Cameron does a great job of recovering.
And this is going to be an absolutely wild end to this stage. Already drivers on the fresher tires making their way up the field. Eberhardt moved himself all the way up through the field to 6th spot after getting a great restart in the number 90 machine and trying to keep up with Ethan Moore.
And Ethan Moore had made that contact with Kyle Cameron. Cameron's gotten away from that action now. The closest battle right now here up front is Alan Elwood trying to chase down Ryan Hill coming down the backstretch. Here we go. I think Ryan got a little bit better exit there off of NASCAR 2. And Alan Elwood's not going to be able to catch him going into 3. Coming out of NASCAR 4, we'll take this trip back down the quad oval. Oh, boy, and Hill sends it in really deep. Gets on those brakes late. Look at that. Elwood trying to find a spot on the inside. It's not there. The caution flag is back out, Justin. The end of the stage has happened. Andrew Farnyards is going to be your Stage 1 winner tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. All right, so we picked up a couple cautions during that first stage. We get 15 laps here in the second stage. We won't get exactly 15. In fact, we'll probably be a little bit closer to maybe about 11 or 12 by the time we get done with this round of pit stops. But I would expect to see the rest of the field probably come in here at this point, although I wouldn't be entirely shocked if they stayed out. We said that fuel window was about 25 to 30 laps, and who knows, Farnyards, Hill, Elwood all may decide to stay out on track here during this the end of this stage.
Yeah, that's going to be curious to me because they all were still running a very fast pace despite already having a few hot cycles rather on with the amount of restarts on their sets of tires here on their cars. So this is going to be interesting. They're going to give them an extra lap for the pit stops, it looks like here, but I'm more interested in the drivers who have already taken a pit stop, Sean, because if they elect to stay out, including the ones who just took the pit stop right before the restart, it's going to make it interesting for the start of Stage 2 for how they're going to cycle out and if they're going to be able to keep drivers like Farnyards behind them for the restart.
Well, I don't know, man. If I'm Andrew Farnyards and I've only put, maybe 6 angry laps on those tires, I think I'm staying out and just, he's already established he's kind of the class of the field out of here right now, at least on this configuration. Ryan Hill's got to be feeling pretty good about his start. I don't know if the car's running fine. I don't know that he even want to bother bringing it in.
Yeah, here's where we're gonna find out, I think, Sean, because at this point they're gonna have to pit at least Stage 2. This is gonna be the question. I don't see Farnyards pitting, but everyone else, they're going to do the opposite. Oh, no, not Cameron. Cameron stays out. Cameron stays out, and so does, who was that? Eberhardt stays out behind him. Eberhardt had already come in earlier. Remember, after that first caution flag we got in first stage. But our leader, Andrew Farnyards, is going to stay on track ahead. Just about everybody behind him that hadn't pit. And let's see. Yeah, no, that's it.
Cameron and Cameron and Eric Stanford stayed out too, actually.
Yeah, Cameron and Stanford are also maybe playing that long game for the final stage, really, Sean, because they're now going to have an extra set of tires for the rest of the way, because they got 4 sets. The rest of the field is down to at least 3 right now because of the way they cycle things out. Everyone else has taken at least 1 pit stop. Eberhardt's got the freshest tires out of that top 4 that stayed out.
Yeah, I'm going to rest on what I said before, though. If I'm in your Farnyards and I've gotten off to the start that I've gotten, and that car still feels good under me, I don't care about that pit stop. Let them all go ahead and pit, do whatever they got to do. They got to catch me, and nobody's been able to do that yet. Maybe the tires balance that out a little bit, but like I said, we only really had like 6 angry laps on those tires. So I think those who've decided to stay out are really working with still the same car that they close to the same car they started this race with. But the lights are still on that roof pace car. We're going to go one more lap here. There will be an extra lap for the pit stops. They figured that in here. So we'll get one more round. We'll actually restart with 15. Let's see what that'll be. That'll be 10 laps until the end of the stage. So it's going to wind up being 10 laps each stage, or thereabouts.
And with the caution, I think it's got to be something you got to think. This is going to help some drivers with strategy. So I agree with you, Sean, though, when it comes to Farnyards, because I've seen him race in multiple different series, in multiple different parts, rather, of the iRacing series. He's one of the better road course drivers when it comes to the Cup car as well, compared to many other drivers he's faced. So I would leave him as the favorite right now, depending on how things cycle out with the stage and if he can keep himself out of trouble. So I don't blame him again for staying out here. It's just going to be, can he keep out of trouble, especially with how turn 1 is here at the Roval.
Yeah, that seems to have been the Achilles heel so far for several drivers. As we look through the field, though, right now Eberhardt is, by nature of taking that pit stop early, is our biggest mover in the field there. 14 spots up now in second place, but he's had a little bit of trouble early on in this race, so hopefully he can keep that car moving in the right direction. And other drivers that have moved up a bit here, David Washington, Dylan Jones up 8 spots here as we now get ready to restart this race. I believe the lights have been extinguished on that roof, and they have. So we are ready to go. Time to tighten the belts and check all your gauges, make sure everything's still working right. Check your hardware, make sure everything's still connected. You certainly don't want to make a mistake heading into turn 1 here or have anything not work for you. So Andrew Farnyards, and now for the first time on the front row with him, it's going to be Daniel Eberhardt. And it looks like Farnyards has decided to take the inside line this time down into turn 1. Just behind them, it'll be Kyle Kammer and Eric Stanford on the second row for the first time this evening. And in our third row, of course, is David Washington and Dylan Jones. And we are now entering the backstretch, and I look for Farnyards to take the same approach here to start stage 2. He'll probably get on the hammer before everybody else and make it down there clean. Be interested to see what these tires do on the restart. Again, Farnyards is the only one that elected to stay out at this point, except for Cameron and Stanford. So 3 of those have the rest of the field behind him here. And like I said, it should be interesting to see if the rest of the field has an opportunity to get around.
I would still keep your eye, though, on Eberhardt, because in terms of that entire top 10, he's got the freshest tires on the racetrack. So I don't see him keeping up with Farnyards, but I do see him fighting very hard and potentially holding on to the second spot.
Here we go. The roof pace car is off. It's up to Andrew Farnyards. Here he goes, and he's on it again. Down on to the start-finish line. Andrew Farnyards getting away quick. Eberhardt with a decent start, able to keep there right behind him, side by side, right behind him, Stanford. Cameron's going to get away. Stanford, go! He's got to check up just a bit. He almost got into the back of Cameron, and they're still side by side back through the field, trying to get things sorted out here. I see we've got David Washington and Andrew Payne getting together. Washington's going to get by.
And you have a mix of fresh tires and old tires right now that's checking deep. People are paying big-time checkup. And that's going to cause some front-end damage to Jones. That could hurt his engine temps, but it should be fine a little bit with the amount of damage given there on that huge checkup from Payne to avoid the back of Washington.
Eberhardt got a great start through the infield, starts to lose a little ground there. Our leader, Andrew Farnyards, though, as they head through NASCAR 3 and 4. Farnyards going to bring him around here on the restart. He's going to lead the first lap. Oh, sending it deep is Daniel Eberhardt. Got to be careful there. Oh, he's sliding it through turn 1. Eberhardt does a good job to save it. Here comes Kyle Cameron, though, picking up ground quick.
Eberhardt's feeling very confident with these tires, but he just locked them up. He just lost all the time he's gained on the back of Farnyards now because of that lockup to try to avoid going in the grass, and now he's in the grass.
Oh, watch out.
And this is causing trouble.
Cameron had to get on the binders here, does a good job of avoiding it. Here comes the rest of the field. There comes Eric Stanford, David Washington. Eberhardt's going to get out of line. Right up next, Stanford. Oh, Washington loses it, heading out the exit there, and we've got cars spinning back there. Who was that? That was the 93.
Yep.
Andrew Payne.
Yeah, Payne had to check up again big time. You'll see again on the GSRC replay what caused him to spin sideways there. He was battling with Jones at the time, and this is around the same time some of the checkups are going up. He just absolutely loses it through the corner, trying to go side by side. And he loses control. That loses him a heck of a lot of time as we have a lockup of the 19. He's in the grass.
Oh, Stanford saves it. Woo, he pulled that off.
And I think he just hit the wall, though, because he spun his tires trying to get back into the binders for the gears, pardon me.
Yeah.
You'll see what just happened here on the replay. First, you have the lockup where he burns out the tires, slides to the grass, loses 3 spots, is able to recover some time, not lose too much time, but then he loses control, trying to get back into the gas, shifting to the second gear, maybe the third gear there. So he's got some significant damage on the left front.
And we come back live, and Washington's off the course, trying to get back on. He's still struggling. I think that damage has got the suspension hurt on that car.
Yeah, I think he almost said hello to that gate you were talking about to get into NASCAR 1. Took the corner very wide and almost hit that said gate. But look at how this action's shaping up because of all this going on behind of Washington.
Hey, moving through the field is Gabe Wood, the double aught. Just picking up a spot, getting by Ethan Moore. He's going to pick up another one here, heading into 1, side by side with the 6 of Gerald Campbell. Oh, all 3 of them in there, and they're in the wall. Ethan Moore noses it into that wall. Gary Sexton coming back out into the traffic. He hits him here at the back. He got into the 4. William Locklear, what a mess down there. And the caution is out.
Yeah, that is an absolute mess. You see what happened with turn 1, but with what happened to Sexton, that just absolutely compounded the issue because he started locking it up halfway down the straight, or lost control rather.
Wow.
That slid him right into the middle of the racing line and caused all those collisions. Here is what happened exactly, because he starts to get a draft from the back of Jones, loses control, clipping the grass, and slides right at the worst place at the wrong time, right where you see drivers trying to come into turn 1.
Yeah, and Stanford was the first car he hit. Poor Gary, you know he was just a passenger on the brakes as hard as he could be, trying to drive through that, and boy, that's a real bad break there. He's going to beat up that Hexcam Toyota just a bit. Going to need some repair.
Yeah, that is going to be absolutely bad luck for sure on that machine. Just absolutely just crazy moments there. The 19 of Stanford already bringing it directly down to the pits because of the amount of damage on that car. On the left, front and now the left rear after the slide through the grass there.
Okay, now they are, race control is telling the field now that they need to get ready here because they are not delaying the caution here. They're going to get everybody lined back up and get this second stage in.
Yeah, and they're already giving out the end of longest lines to Wood and Sexton. It looks like Salick also got hit hard in the rear of his car in terms of that cycle as well. So the pressure is on again to try and finish off the stage as clean as you can.
Well, obviously the cars that were up front and that were starting to get away, they were the lucky ones. They were able to avoid that. Everybody else behind, though, seems to have gotten a small piece of that. And, well, they're not working with the same machine that they started with when we started just a little while ago. Now, Farnyards and Cameron are still the only cars. Now, they remain the only two cars that have not taken a pit stop. And I don't think you're going to see that happen here. I think track position a lot more important. I think... well, what we've learned so far this evening is you want to be in front of the mess, not behind it. And I'd say Cameron, Farnyards are in a good spot right now where they're at.
I 100% agree with you because you want to be in the best position possible to try and win. And you need to be able to make sure your car is there for the finish. That is why a lot of these drivers are trying to do that said strategy, because you don't want to have to drive through a cyclone, or drive to the hornet's nest rather, as some may refer to when it comes to a dirt track. You want to make sure your car's there with as least amount of damage as possible. If you have a destroyed car near the end, especially if you have suspension damage, it's going to be an absolute struggle just to be able to cross the start and finish line in one piece.
Well, we're looking forward to getting this one restarted. It looks like the lights are out on the pace car. In fact, they are. You don't see that yellow beacon of light flashing there in the infield. It does get a little shady down there. I wouldn't say it's exactly dark. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, these drivers are taking this lighting pretty well. Remember, there's no lights really in the back, in the road section of the track, but it's enough to see. But once you get to the oval, it's a big time contrast to where you're able to see where you're going, have that nice shining lights, have lots of virtual fans to your right side. So really good atmosphere overall tonight. But that point being, I would see how Eberhard deals with the pressure now, because Eberhard really burned up those tires off after the restart, and he's starting to really struggle, I think, with that number 90 machine. Watch him in the 5th spot right now in row 3 on the restart.
Well, here we go. It's almost time. All right, in race control, giving instructions to the field now about where they should be. But here we go. Race control's already told everyone they'll clear the black flags if they get them. Everybody here being behaved. And Andrew Farnyard's back to the throttle. Gets a nice start. Cameron doesn't get a bad one. He's right there with him. But Farnyard's going to win the race into 1. And is everybody going to stack up behind him? Well, they're going to try and get him in line. And we've got a battle for second already. Elwood wants it. Cameron doesn't want to give it to him. They continue to fight. Elwood's going to get the spot. And Elwood's got to watch out because here comes Dylan Jones. Dylan Jones already clears Elwood. Dylan Jones clears Cameron. My bad.
Elwood, I would watch him now on this stretch because he's got one of the freshest sets of tires on the racetrack right now. And he's on a tear. He had a decent amount of pace in practice with a 104.4. Also in that same ballpark, 105 rather. He was in a decent ballpark, top 5 in practice speed. Once again, qualified 3rd, and now he's in his best track position after taking some strategy with the Stage 1 cautions.
All right, well, Elwood is on his horse, but Farnyards already staking himself to about a half a second here. And again, it's the battle under turn 1, and Alan Elwood's definitely going to break deep that time. He gets the car under control, though. has a really nice turn in there. In fact, has picked up a ton of ground on Andrew Funyards here.
And compared to Eberhard, a big time amount of time gain compared to what Eberhard tried to do. As it looks like we have a spin going on with Abraham.
Yeah, Abraham and David Washington both troubled down into turn one, and it's Abraham right there. You see him spinning out of control. He's able to slow it down. The field gets by. We have no caution. But David Washington checked up getting down there also, and he was right behind him. Washington now finds himself in 17th place. Back up front, Andrew Farnyards is not safe at all. Alan Elwood with a tremendous restart here, and he's fighting for the stage win.
And the tire difference is really starting to come into play here because Elwood's able to go in much more deeper than Farnyards on the break-in, as well as much faster in the oval section of the racetrack. He's now going to try and get everything he can because he's got the run. He knows he's got the speed. He just has to find the right place to make the pass.
Oh, yeah. Elwood's found the target. It's been secured. He gets into the back of Farnyards. Farnyards is around. Farnyards is around, and the yellow flag is out. And this will complete the end of the second stage. We'll have to see how that's going to shake out, but right now, based on that, I would think it's Alan Elwood that's going to get this stage win. We'll maybe wait for a little bit of confirmation from race control here. But Elwood certainly, you're going to see here on the replay, does give Andrew Farnyards just a little bit of help. That was a racing deal, though. I mean, Elwood had a good run going there. It did look like, Farnyards on his line maybe slowed just a little bit, so... again, a racing deal at best. It certainly didn't look like Elwood tried to run him over.
Yeah, he definitely didn't try to run him over. I think it was just he didn't expect maybe Farnyards to be as slow through this section of the corner, rather in turn number 3. But he also have Elwood, who was below the white line. But you can run down there. Maybe Farnyards wasn't expecting to dig as deep as he did. And then Elwood tried to take advantage in terms of speed to try and make the pass work, and unfortunately for him, makes contact, and now he's going to pay the price. He'll be at the end of the longest line.
So they will assess Elwood with the penalty. And he will go to the end of the longest line on this restart. Pace car's made its way to the back stretch here. Field getting caught up a little bit quicker this time.
Yeah, pretty quicker, but I did say this before with the caution before that last restart. As long as Farnyards stayed out of trouble, he would still be the fastest car on the racetrack. Now he's got a decimated right rear of the car. The question is, how is that going to affect that 88 machine once we get back going for the green? That is going to really hurt him in terms of the pace overall, especially with that aero damage for the oval portion of the racetrack.
Well, Dylan Jones is going to get that stage win. They've given it to him. So the number 16 Ford Windex-sponsored machine, the Window Licker as we've come to know him, is going to come in, the winner of the stage, and he's going to lead everybody down pit lane. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. There were a few cars that stayed out.
And I'm surprised we had people stay out there. Maybe, though, they're trying to save an extra set of tires because they've already gone through 3 of their allotted sets. They have just 2 sets of tires to go once this final stage gets underway. Maybe that's the strategy to try and stretch those tires.
Well, it is Colton Salek and Andrew Payne that decide to stay up at the front of the field. We've got everybody else down here on the pit lane coming out of their boxes now. Farnyard's not out first. And race control giving instructions now. Everybody trying to get caught up here to the field and the pace car. Now, those lights are out on the pace car, and that means we're going to get ready to go here. Now, race control's already said if They can't get the field bunched up. They'll extend it, and it looks like they've done that. They've extended the caution. They couldn't get everybody lined up. So here we go. We'll get one more lap around here. And while we do that, why don't we go ahead and take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll be right back. Welcome back to GSRC's presentation of the AdPro 360 Cup Series live tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're on the Roval, folks, and the lights are out on the pace car, and Colton Salek and Andrew Payne look to get us started here for Stage 3. 35 laps when they hit the line. We'll have 34 to go. Caution flag is in play this evening, so watch yourselves, fellas, because we could see it again. But here we go. Everybody getting lined up side by side, getting some heat back in the tires. Salek, Payne, Regan, Campbell, Eberhard, and Hill complete your top 6. Waiting on that roof pace car here to pull off to the left. For the first time tonight, somebody besides Andrew Farnyard is going to have to restart this race from the point. Here we go. The pace car's off. We're waiting on Salek. And Salek is away. Payne with a good start. He's right there up in his quarter. They head down to 1. Payne's going to send it in there on the inside. Watch out just behind him. The 46 of Richard Regan all over the place trying to hang on to that. Eberhard coming through here. Look at him take this spot away from Salek.
And that's the tire difference coming into play already for this top 2. Falling and losing a lot of time. Eberhard almost climbed the back end of Payne, but they had to take the risk. They were down to just 2 sets of tires to go for this race. They had no really much choice for this final stage in case there was cautions. They wanted to keep those final 2 sets.
Hey, what Eberhard has done some amazing things with that car this evening. He continues to roll in his Ford. Chasing down Andrew Payne here up front. Looking back at that yellow and blue Ford machine there. Daniel Eberhard. you've got the East Coast chasing the West Coast right now, basically.
And you also got new tires chasing down old tires. Watch Eberhard here because he's been able to take it in much deeper compared to many different drivers when they're on the worn tires. The thing is, when he's been on the fresher tires and doing so, he's really burned up the tires within 3 laps. As we got a caution flag out once again because it's out of turn 1.
Yeah, Ethan Moore. Ethan Moore got around. The whole field got by him. We'll see this on the replay. He's just going to get in too hot here at a NASCAR 4. Down the front stretch. He's going to be all by himself here. Everything fine across the line, just not on the brakes soon enough. You get into a situation there where you get on it late, you lock them up, and boy, he narrowly avoids that barrier there as the pace car screams out of the pit lane. Incredible grip on that roof pace car.
Yeah, super tires on that machine for sure, but with that caution, it looked like Cameron also lost a lot of time as well, I think, really trying to avoid that. But I think the biggest winners are the 93 and 99 because they still have to at least get some fresh tires here. Now everyone at least has to come into at least top off on fuel to get into the pit fuel window, since you can make it at the max 30 laps on fuel. For right now, if you're able to save fuel, drivers may just barely be able to make it with the caution.
Well, I think as a driver, right now, at least if you're talking with your crew chief about what your moves should be, I think what we've seen so far is you're guaranteed to have some more pit stops. So maybe there's not an urgency to come in right this second, but you don't want to give up position, especially not in the third stage. This one's for the win. This one's for real. I'd say don't give that position up now if you don't have to, but we are approaching that window, and I think if you did top off right now, you know what, Justin? I think you might be in good shape.
The thing is, though, a couple drivers right before the start of the stage did top off and/or get damage repaired while said topping off. Farnyards was amongst those drivers, as well as Cameron, as well as Ethan Moore, I believe it was, and as well as Dylan Jones. So these drivers are still thinking about that and trying to have a pit stop as late as possible and make this fuel last as much as possible. Now, it looks like everyone's just going to try and hold in the clutch now, because at this point, I think they already know they cannot make it unless they really, really, really sacrifice a lot of time. David Washington, the only one really making the risk.
And, you know, Justin, we've got some road racing pros in the chat giving advice and maybe in a little critique at time, but Phil in and around the lake and Riley Thompson, if you're familiar with the Global Sim Racing channel and you watch the Camel GT series, it's a couple guys from the Camel GT series there. In fact, Riley Thompson was in that race Tuesday night. You called with us, Justin, there, the SMS Triple Crown from where were we at? Knoxville. No, not Knoxville. I'm sorry. What track were we at tonight?
The entire Charlotte Motor
Speedway. We were here. Exactly where we're at tonight. Yeah, I've got a good memory. But speaking of the Camel GT, you can see those two this weekend, Saturday. The Camel GT 500. Yes, it's back here on iRacing. Well, because they wanted it to be. And it'll be right here, presented by the Global Sim Racing channel on the iRacing Esports Network on YouTube. Find them, type that in, iRacing Esports Network. Go on over there and give them a subscribe, because you can catch the Lionheart IndyCar series there on Wednesday nights. And you can also catch the Camel GT series running Season 4, getting ready to start here in a couple of weekends. But it's time to start talking about the restart of this race. Up front, not much has changed. It's going to be Andrew Payne and Daniel Eberhard on this restart. And boy, Eberhard was really on the move there, Justin.
Yeah, he was, because he had the advantage of track position, as well as being surrounded really by the 93 and 99 who are on the oldest tires on the racetrack right now. So he's in the driver's seat to really get at least a couple second cushion, depending on if he can get a good restart, and then be able to not make really any mistakes, because right behind him in row 2 on the restart, Ryan Hill. He's going to be trying to charge big time, has been the second fastest driver for much of the night tonight in that 55. It's going to be challenging for Eberhard. He's going to need a perfect restart and to immediately get by the 93 machine.
Ryan Hill becoming a celebrity in the world of iRacing. I think everybody knows who his name is now. Made the highlight reel there, the top highlights of the month of July there in iRacing. And here we go, the race back underway. Andrew Payne gets a great jump. Look who he's bringing with him. Colton Salek got on a hammer real quick. Eberhard gets stuck there on the outside. He's going to have to settle here. I don't think he can get him. He's going to try and get up alongside. He does it. Great job by Eberhard. Now he's going to have the position back to the inside here into the turn. And Eberhard's going to hold on to second place just like that. Watch out for Ryan Hill. Hill screaming up through the field. He pulls off that move on Regan.
He'll try to get the run on Salek, but had to really check up to avoid the back of Salek. So now he's going to have to regroup. Watch him towards the oval, especially into turn number 1, because now he's going to be the advantage. So will be Eberhard going into NASCAR 3.
Here comes Eberhard, dropping all the way down to the bottom. Wow. Ooh, I don't know if there's...
I don't think that's supposed to work at all on the racetrack there. That lost him, I think, a chance to make the pass here. I don't know what he was thinking there. That does not work even in the oval side for the racetrack.
Look at the run he got out of 4, though. He got a great run out of 4 and then lost it a little bit loose there. That could have just been a mistake by him back there, back in turn 3, but he recovers from it. Boy, so close to that wall. Eberhard still digging here. Salek doing a good job of holding on to 3rd. Hill is chasing. Dylan Jones back there moving up through the field. He just took 9th from Gary Sexton. I'm sorry, took 8th. There's Jesse Abraham. Seeing there on screen.
Yeah, things are starting to get pretty intense. It looks like that the 4 car, though, went into the wall. William Locklear hit.
We got a car off in the grass back here. Who was that? Oh, Gabe Wood. That was Gabe Wood off in the grass. That was out of turn 5.
Yeah, everyone's heads are on
Here we go.
swivels.
Here's the replay.
Yeah, looking at this replay now, because we'll see exactly why he went off here. He took a bit too much speed into the corner, went off into the grass, and just ended up going all the way towards the gravel pits where some of the RV parking spaces are. Loses a heck of a lot of time as a result.
Jesse Abraham is way off pace at the back of the field. They've all passed him.
Oh, trouble!
And he yells out. And it was down the front stretch. We had trouble. Oh, wow. It looks like David Washington's going to get into the back of Richard Regan. And they're going to make contact. Here it is. You'll see Washington, the 98 there, the red and black car there behind. He's going to get in hot here in the 1. Get into the back of Regan. Regan's going to slide around. Sexton does a great job of avoiding that. So does the 23, Ethan Moore. He stays out of trouble there. But the caution flag is back out. And when they come across the line, we'll have 27 laps to go in this race.
And Sean, I would expect every single driver to come in for tires and fuel, because by the time we restart this race, everyone should be within reach of making it to the finish from here on out.
Yeah, I'm with you, Justin. I think this is the time right here.
Yeah, it's an absolute no-brainer, because I don't think a lot of the drivers want to risk staying out on old tires as well as risking fuel, because you never know if there's going to be a long green flag run. That's for sure at this racetrack. But again, I don't think you want to risk even going to the back at this point. Although Payne's been able to hold on to the lead, it's been very close for Eberhard to be able to make that said pass on the fresher tires. So overall, though, Payne is going to be the big-time gainer along with Salek with the strategy they pulled off tonight.
All right, well, let's see. How close is Andrew Farnyards to getting back up through this field? Well, you know what? He's in 10th place. And unless you've been up in that top 4, we haven't seen a lot of passing, Justin. We haven't had a long enough green flag run to for anybody to really make any big advances through the field. And boy, if you are going to pit right now, you better make it a good one. It better be perfect. It doesn't look like any of our leaders are coming in. In fact, they're all going to pass the pit lane. And is that David Washington back there I see came in? I know it was one of the red cars. We have several red cars on track. It was actually Richard Regan coming in. He smoked those tires up a little bit. He's going to go for the extra set.
I'm a little surprised that they didn't come into the pits here, it looks, to at least maybe top off as well as get fresher tires. They had the couple sets here. So I'm surprised. I think maybe everyone else who stayed out here is hoping that there's going to be another quick caution, or at least maybe a couple lap run before they elect to go in and use up a set, because drivers are either down to their final set or have used up all their sets so far. So it's down to 1 or 2 sets at the most for many drivers. Ethan Moore also was a part of the pit game.
Yeah, and he's out and rolling again. Regan's still sitting down there. This is a long stop for him.
Yeah, he's just getting repairs at this point, because I think he doesn't want to risk having any kind of damage, because remember, he got hit from behind that triggered that caution. He's got a ton of damage on that back end. He has to repair to be able to keep up speed and even have a shot to finish higher than where he's at on the racetrack near the back of the field. If he wants to gain spots, he had to get all of that repaired.
Yeah, and gaining spots from the back of the field, as I was just talking about a couple minutes ago, that's going to be trouble. All right, here we go. It's time to get running again here. The lights are out on the pace car, and they have coming out of NASCAR 2 for the backstretch. And up front, it's a battle of the Camaro ZR1, or ZL1. I'm sorry, ZR1. The ZL1 Camaro against the Ford, the very fast Ford of Daniel Eberhardt. And Ryan Hill has worked his way up here. Watch out for the Hill Coast Chevy.
I'm surprised that we haven't seen Eberhardt complete the pass yet on Payne, but I think he's been trying to be patient and sometimes a little too aggressive at times. Somebody has to make the pass because Payne is still on these old tires. I'm going to be surprised if someone doesn't pass him through this cycle.
All right, here we go. Time to get running again. The green flag is away, and so is Andrew Payne. He's on it. Payne across the start-finish line. It's side by side with Salik and Eberhardt down into 1. Eberhardt coming all the way around the outside.
Trouble, turn 1. Farnyards locked up the tires. Washington goes around, and the caution's going to come back out here, Sean.
Wow. We couldn't get this race restarted and get to a run. Eberhardt, though, is going to move to the lead. What a move down into turn 1 by Daniel Eberhardt as we watch this replay. Take a look from the eye in the sky. Farnyards is going to start with him. There's the 88 on the bottom. And under braking, that car just took a hook to the right and into the field. Wow.
Just absolutely locked up the brakes big time there, because sometimes with these Cup cars, you'll get your brakes locking up in only the right front tire and not in the left front, depending on how hard you hit it. That was the case for Farnyards, where it bobbed to the left and snapped to the right, as you've seen. And now Farnyards, who looked to have the race in the bag in the first stage and the first half of the second stage, his day is going to be absolutely difficult to just finish in the top 10 with the amount of damage he's got.
I think it's going to be adversely affected by this. Now he's locked in. He is locked into the next round of the playoffs. So Farnyards really has nothing to worry about here from a championship standpoint. Certainly you'd like to earn all the bonus points you can, but he's padded himself pretty well coming out of round 1. But tonight, those chances are looking really, really dim as he's fallen to the back of the field. The Exalta Ford needs a tremendous amount of repair. He's got rear end damage, front end damage now, and that front end damage actually could be trouble on the gauges. He could be running hot oil or hot water, either of which could wind up with a motor. that winds up cooking before the end of this race.
Yeah, I'm listening into his engine revs right now, trying to catch up to this pace car with Farnyards. It does not sound healthy whatsoever. It's definitely got a lot of engine damage, because with the new build, you go down to as low as 2,000 RPMs now rather than 1,200 when you don't have damage. With the way it's running, it sounds like maybe it's at 70% power, maybe 75% after the hits.
Well, pace car's at the entrance to pit road right now, and I'm trying to see any drivers coming down. Certainly not any of the leaders. They're all falling in behind the pace car, and, well, not a lot of takers here. Not up front, anyway. You see Eberhard, Payne, Salick, Allen Elwood, Ryan Hill, Dylan Jones. Even Gary Sexton's back up in this thing. Sexton's got a lot of damage on that Toyota, but he is up in the top 10.
I mean, we do have a few takers like Abraham, again, Washington, obviously, and Farnyards. But at this point, all these cautions, when I'm thinking about this, might actually help these drivers still make it without even making a pit stop, possibly, because you can just hold in the clutch, run through the entire road course section while holding set in clutch, and save at least a couple gallons of fuel rather than pitting in, constantly pitting back and forth with the amount of cautions, how frequent it is. So they could maybe still make this without even making a pit stop now in this final stage because of how quick these cautions are flying.
You know, that roof pace car has a very small fuel tank on it. I'm wondering if we may need to refuel that before the night's over.
I'm pretty sure every time it comes down the pit lane, though, it's able to fuel up just at the edge of the pit wall. Then, as soon as it's filled up, okay, time to get back on the racetrack.
I don't know. They may be busy repairing all that damage on it every time it parks itself into the pits. But, all right, well, let's take a look at this now. Here we go. We're back up onto the oval section of the track, heading into NASCAR 2. The lights are once again out on that pace car. And Daniel Eberhard is going to start from the outside. Andrew Payne going to start from the inside again. Eberhard making a power move down into turn 1 on that last restart. We'll look to do the same thing here. And still got the same cast of customers for him. Dylan Jones picked up a spot there, actually, on that last restart. So he finds himself now on the second row. Ryan Hill gets shuffled back to the third row, up alongside Gerald Campbell in a number 6. We haven't, get so used to talking about Gerald Campbell during these races, Justin. We've barely talked about Campbell this evening, only when he's been in trouble. He hasn't had any trouble for a while, and that bodes well for him. He's got an opportunity here to maybe knock out a win this evening in that new Chevrolet Camaro he's sporting. So we'll see as they come out of turn 4. The pace car will make that turn to the left here into the pit lane, and then we'll wait for Andrew Payne or Daniel Eberhard to get it started. Eberhard's got the point. It's up to him. He's holding the field, and now he's gone. Eberhard, like a streak of lightning, down on the ground and off and away, down into turn 1. Side by side behind him, he gets the start he wanted. He's all by himself. Elwood just barely makes it past turn 1. That wall there, he's side by side now with Andrew Payne. Elwood's going to get in front of him. Payne does not cross him over. He's got to worry about Dylan Jones. He's got to run behind him. That green and white car back there, that's Colton Salick. He got the field stacked up behind him. Sexton just made contact with Gerald Campbell. They're all over the place.
Yeah, Campbell's still sliding the back tires a little bit. Just able to save that, though. But Sexton, even with the amount of damage, he's still got some speed in that number 13 machine. He wants to go, and he wants to go quick. He's able to get by for the spot.
Yeah, and Gerald Campbell had a horrible entry onto the track. Camera up alongside him now. The front of the field getting away quick, though, as Eberhard has staked himself now to almost a 1-second lead. Elwood chasing, but not enough here so far. Down into turn 1. This race belongs to Daniel Eberhard right now. Eberhard with a nice entry there and no company, no
trouble.
Pressure.
Turn 1. Turn 1, Campbell just got involved in a huge stack up.
Yeah, well, Campbell was trying to avoid the double ought there of Gabe Wood. The caution flag is not out yet. Everybody gets through that. They checked up behind him. We'll look at it on the replay here real quick again. The caution flag is not out. That's Campbell up at the top there, the 6th. And then the contact there below, it was McFarland, Gabe Wood with the contact 00. Then he wraps the wall again, and Campbell just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. That's going to put him way off pace there.
And he had a lot of damage on the front end. On top of that, Gary Sexton, at the same time as that replay was finishing up, he got clipped going towards the entrance into NASCAR 1 by the number 93 of Salek. That loses also a heck of a lot of time on the racetrack. So everyone's starting to get into different scenarios because of the speed through the oval section of the racetrack. Oh, and here's a big one. This one's in turn 1.
Oh, yeah, and boy, the Gabe Wood was just way too hot coming down the front stretch. He gets back in the back end of William Locklear. Watch this on the replay. You're just going to see, again, Gabe just way too hot on the front stretch here. Doesn't get the car slowed up in time to avoid the contact in the back of Locklear. Locklear goes for Mr. Toad's wild ride and avoids the field. Jesse Abraham having a close moment there as he made the evasive move. Well, we've got a few beat-up race cars now, Justin. That's been the result of all these cautions. We've now got 20 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, and this is going to hurt a lot of the drivers that don't have damage. One of the few drivers that were able to repair all of their damage. Remember, Eberhard had some on the left front before. He's been able to repair it. Oh, my goodness!
No. And this is what I talked about earlier, Justin. You get to boogie in trying to catch up to that race car, or to the pace car, and what happens? He just crushed the front end on his Ford. I'm sorry, I said on his Ford. Yeah, he just crushes the front end. Here's the I'm sorry, I thought we were watching the replay.
I am just absolutely stunned. I'm sorry, because I know you're trying to catch the pace car towards the backstretch, but why are you pushing that hard when you're the race leader? You just threw the race away because you destroyed your front end. You got left front suspension damage now, and his motor has to be damaged from how hard that hit is. He just threw away what could have been a possible win to try and keep away Alan Elwood. Now because of how he turned into going into the road course section of the track. Just unbelievable. Elwood's now the cleanest car on the racetrack.
Well, let's see here. Let's see what happens with Eberhard. Gabe Wood is going to get an end-of-line penalty for that. Everybody checking up, and boy, checking up late for a few drivers, having a close moment there. And we see cars peeling off to the safety of the pit lane. Surprisingly enough, Daniel Eberhard stays on track.
I'm not surprised to see as many cars going in as we're seeing now, including, remember, the ones that have stayed up for 3 straight restarts. But I don't understand the strategy move with Eberhard with as much damage as there is. I'm guessing he's hoping that there's going to be as many cautions to keep him in front.
Listen, there may not be as much damage as we think. We're not in the car. It doesn't look great on our end, but it's a road course, and if it still turns left and right, then maybe you've got half a shot to stay up there at the front. With the rate that we keep getting the caution flags, he's got to feel safe that if he can hang on for maybe 1 or 2 laps, maybe another caution flag is around the corner. So that could be the play here. Again, gauges may look fine. The car may sound okay. He may be in good shape.
I think that's the only logical strategy that comes into focus with him staying out. He's hoping that track position is going to help him that much, and he's going to be able to maybe hold off drivers like Jones as well as many others on the racetrack. We talked about how important track position is. I don't think he wants to risk going all the way to the back after working his way up and down the grid and having a good strategy for the start of this stage.
Yeah, well, our 2 biggest movers of the race are at the front right now, and Jones and Eberhard. So we're ready. The pace car is ready. The drivers are ready. They'll hit the stripe with 17 laps to go in this race this evening from the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval here with the AdPro 360 Cup Series. Heading down the backstretch, lots of stuff coming up this weekend here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We talked about the Camel GT 500. Well, that's not the only thing we've got going on. We've got the Gathering of Tweakers and their GTE 3 event happening this weekend. And I believe they're just about filled up on spots with that. But plenty of racing on this special Week 13 for the Global SimRacing channel. We'll get a few more of those events to you here, maybe at the end or at the next caution flag. We'll see, but we are ready to go. The pace car has found its way down to turn 4, NASCAR 4, if you will. It's going to be Eberhardt and Jones on the front to get us restarted. Eberhardt with the big start last time, looked to do it again, and he's on the hammer again. Cameron's coming with him. A nice start for Cameron. Dylan Jones trying to hang on the inside. Here we go. The battle into one. It's going to be side by side. Not for long. Jones gets through the crossover. Jones too hot. He's into the wall. Jones is into the wall. And Eberhardt gets away. Cameron now fighting with Ethan Moore.
And we got trouble again. Abraham just spun out right to the outside of the pack, just out of trouble, but man, oh man, Jones just threw a big-time opportunity away with that hit to turn 1.
Oh, the battle for second just ends. Ethan Moore got it too wide in the dirt. Now he makes contact with Richard Regan. They're side by side. Ethan Moore gets it back in front of Regan. Cameron able to get away and hold on to the second spot.
And I think Verniere's lost control again because he just stacked up the field on the entrance to NASCAR 1. Everyone got really stacked up because he got loose, clipping the dirt, and now that intensifies the battle for this spot again. This again, now with all this, is a round for the top 10.
Drivers still trying to pick up their points here this evening as the laps start to tick away. 16 laps to go across the line. Battle down into turn 1. Ethan Moore tried to get into Kyle Cameron. It didn't work. Cameron gets away. Now Ethan Moore's got to worry about the 46 of Richard Regan right in his mirror. And up front, it's still Daniel Eberhardt. A little over half a second is his lead at the moment. But Kyle Cameron is wheeling that race car. That Camaro is hot, and it's on its way. Cameron's got a little bit of damage on that car, but not a significant amount. Here comes Ethan Moore with a good run out of NASCAR 2 or NASCAR 1. Oh, and David Washington's around. The 98 is around and off track already.
And this is a secondary spin on top of spinning in the middle position. That is a huge blow for Washington, who has had a very rough night. But keep your eye on that battle for second onward, because they have the advantage, especially through the NASCAR Oval. Oh, once they can catch up.
Look at this battle for the lead. Oh, Ethan Moore goes to the lead. Daniel Eberhardt got into turn 1 way too hot, Justin. And now he's fighting back. Ethan Moore, a little slow. Oh, no, and he hits him. Eberhardt hits Moore. Moore is around. Eberhardt off into the wall. There is the caution flag. The leaders tangling it up. Eberhardt has surely got heavier damage on that car. In fact, the front end of that car completely crushed. No hood on it. Wow.
Yeah, let's look at the GSRC replay with this, because Eberhardt just lost the lead. Then he tried to get underneath. We've seen the same issue with Farniers before, where he made contact with him. This time spins around more, and that's going to possibly end off Eberhardt's day as he smacks hard into the wall.
Boy, Eberhardt, we're on board Richard Regan here. Get his view here from the cockpit. He's going to have to make a move or two, and there's Cameron. He makes a little bit of contact with Cameron. Puts a little more damage on the front end of his car. And he just misses getting by Ethan Moore.
Yeah, good heads-up driving there from Regan to avoid adding additional damage and making contact, because now with that moves him to second. So he's in one of his strongest spots of the day. I think the highest he's been all day long here, Sean. +9 since the drop of the green flag earlier on tonight.
Well, we'll come around and we'll get things reset here. We'll have a few less laps to go. and a little bit closer to the finish of this race. And, you know, just before this this last restart, I was talking about the great events we've got coming up here for this special Week 13 weekend here on the Global Sim Racing channel. I was talking about the Gathering of Tweakers and their GTE3 Challenge. They'll be at COTA, Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. And then on Sunday, a big day with the Camel GT 500K at Road America, and then the Gathering of Tweakers on Saturday. Then we get to Sunday, and we've got the Absolute Beginners in their Race of Champions from Summit Point. And they're doing that in the VW, the Fiesta, and the Subaru. So they're doing a little rallycross racing there at Summit Point. That'll be a special event. You won't want to miss that. We have the V runoffs, the SRF Big Grid, which we have every Week 13 here on the Global Sim Racing channel. They'll be at Road Atlanta in the SRFs. You don't want to miss that. That'll be big fun. And then to culminate it all, the granddaddy of them all, Sunday. Be there Sunday night for the majors. Yes, the return of the majors, the Pacific region, right here on the Global Sim Racing channel, and that will be from Knoxville. Yes, the dirt track at Knoxville, the 360 sprint cars will be on display for all to see as the majors get ready to run. I believe it's round 11. It is round 11 in what's been a wonderful season in the Majors series. And if you haven't seen a Majors event, you got to see it here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Our friends over at LSR TV and Race Spot and V8's Online pick up your other regions, and the day always ends here on the Global Sim Racing channel for that Pacific region, which we've been covering for many years now, back when it was a little old thing called the Northwest Majors, I believe is how that started, if our director can confirm that for me. That's right. Mm-hmm. It was the Northwest Majors originally, and it's seen quite a progression over the years. But they'll have a full event in store, and like I said, we've got 5 big events for you this weekend here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We're looking forward to that and already making plans for Season 4. Big things coming here, but the big thing coming right now is through NASCAR Turn 2, and that's this field ready to restart this race, Justin.
Yeah, a lot of time to go in this one. Even though there's 12 laps to go, that could still be a long ways to go with the way this race has turned out. It's about trying to survive. A lot of these drivers have been able to survive just long enough. It's going to be the question of, can he keep the car clean and on the racetrack? Because you don't want to be like the 00 and have a modified when you come across the checker flag, especially if you're in that top 6 in the perfect spot to try and challenge for the win.
All right, caution flag not being extended here. The field is ready. The pace car is certainly ready as they make their way for NASCAR 3 and now find the middle of the turn here. Under the lights at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Beautiful part of the country, Charlotte. Beautiful mountains here, and here we go. It's time to rumble here at the Speedway. Cameron's going to lead him off, and Cameron gets on the hammer really quick there. Cameron waits, holds everybody up behind. He's going to get to 1 first. Regan gets in hot. The car gets a little squirrely, but he keeps it under control. They're already shuffling around towards the back of the field, all trying to get through 1 safely. Everybody does. So far, so good. Oh, and I almost saw contact there between Salek and Elwood. Oh, and they do make contact. Elwood is off the track. And then behind him, is that Andrew Farnyards that's off?
Yes, it is. Farnyards got clipped going into turn 3. The second time he's been clipped and spun around tonight. So his day continues to go from bad to worse once again.
And no caution. And no caution.
Mm-hmm.
We continue to run. Kyle Kammer has the lead. He's still hanging on to it. Everybody following in behind. It's Richard Regan, Ethan Moore. Ethan Moore closing on Regan as they head to the backstretch. Battle back there for 5th. Ryan Hill, Andrew Payne. They're closing on Sexton really quick here. That damage on Sexton's car has obviously got him a little bit off pace, and Hill gets right under him on the exit of turn 4. Not a great place to make a pass, but he did it. Hill's going to get into turn 1 really hot. Got to get that car to turn. He's able to get it to rotate enough and misses that wall where we've seen so much trouble here in turn 1 today. Up in front of him, the battle keeps going here really hard. Cameron still has this lead with 11 laps to go. Oh, in trouble behind him. I think it was Andrew Payne having trouble there, and now another car is off track. Eric Stanford into the wall.
Yeah, and Eric Stanford just made contact with Salek and ping-pongs off him directly into the outer guardrail.
Battle for the lead. Ethan Moore coming around the outside. It's hard to jump all over the place. Moore almost had him on the exit. Moore trying to get down to the inside. They almost make contact. Moore all over the barrel bumper of Kyle Cameron.
And Moore's got the pace. He was able to close up and get the second spot after a great run on the entrance into turn one. Can he get the same kind of run? That's going to be the question. He's much faster, it seems, going into the road course portion than Cameron.
Cameron's still hanging on, but look at this. Moore really picking it up as they got to the infield. Moore's car just seems to be handling a little bit better right here.
Yeah, Moore's got the pace, plus he's got a little bit of extra speed, I think, despite having that extra little bit of front-end damage on that 23 machine. But he's closing it and quick. He's right in the perfect spot. He just has to make sure he keeps near the back door to try and get off the draft to try and position himself maybe for NASCAR 3.
Oh, and Cameron gets just a little bit better run, drives it down the hill just as quick as he can. The Camaros have finally gotten to the front of this race tonight after it been kind of a Ford-dominated race. These new Camaros getting around here quick. Ethan Moore is still on the hunt. They'll have 9 to go at the stripe. Let's go back to the battle for third. Ryan Hill, Richard Regan. Hill takes the move to the inside into one. He's going to make it stick. Oh, and behind him, Alan Elwood had trouble into one. I think he got a piece of the wall. Elwood gives up the spot to Andrew Payne.
I think he just avoided contact with the wall. Abraham just spun on it about the same time, but we keep on going as that's near the back of the field. As this is continuing to eat up as Moore just went off the racetrack.
Mistake for Moore. He's still having trouble. Now this is opening up for Ryan Hill. Here comes Ryan Hill around the outside as they get back to the oval. Who's going to be able to make it hold? Moore able to hang on to it there. Now Ryan Hill chasing again.
And Moore really lost a lot of time because of that. Now that opens up the door for Hill. Remember, he was up in the top 2 for much of stage 1. He's got himself less damage than Moore. Watch Hill. He should be able to try and hold it side by side to get that advantage into 1.
All this fighting has let our leader, Kyle Cameron, just get away. Over 2 seconds now. Alan Elwood sending it up the inside. Elwood gets in hot, but he's able to keep it under control. He passes, gets 2 for 1 there as he got by Richard Regan and Andrew Payne. Now Payne's going to get by Regan back there. Payne up to 4th. I'm sorry, up to 5th.
And you know who's happy about all the shuffling again? Cameron, because you mentioned how far he's pulling away. Already up to 2.2 seconds because of how many passes and how many mistakes are going off. As it looks like right now, issues are going on with some cars because it looks like Eberhardt might have just blown up.
I think you're right about that. Not getting any official word on that yet, but that car had a lot of damage, and I think that's exactly what might have happened. I think he might have cooked it. Man, look at this camera still not extending, but still holding serve. Hill has gotten away from the competition. Ethan Moore now under threat from Alan Elwood. Elwood going to come to the inside out of 4. Elwood going to look to take it away in the 1 here, and he's going to do it. Moore, not a chance to cross him over. Ethan Moore now up to 4th. Can he get to Elwood? Let's see what happens here.
But take a look at how much Hill is gaining in that last lap. Remember, it was a 2.2 second advantage. Cameron has seen his lead shrink down to just under a second because of Hill's pace at this point. Look at how much the lap time differences are. Just about a second difference alone between Cameron and Hill for the top 2.
He's catching him in a hurry, but a hurry is what he needs. When they get to the line, there'll only be 6 laps to go. Remember, the green-white checker is in play here in the AdPro 360 Cup Series. And Hill still on the move. He's catching him now out of 4. Out across the line, it's only going to be about 6/10. Hill with a much better line there getting into turn 1. Wow, look at all the time he picked up there, Justin.
0.6 of a second faster that time by 2 to shrink this to half a second. Hill has the pace, but the question is, can he find the spot to get by Cameron, because it's been so difficult for many drivers to make the pass.
Don't give up on Ethan Moore back here. He's still digging too. He was actually fastest on that last trip around. Moore in a good spot to make something happen here. Oh, Ryan Hill with a little bit of trouble getting back up to the oval. That might hurt his run. It might not. We'll see here. They come down the backstretch. Can Hill get a good enough toe here to maybe get to the inside? It doesn't look like it. He's going to run out of straightaway.
But look how,
oh yeah,
look at this. He's just able to get into the gas much more. Cameron let the car roll too much. That's going to open up the door here once again here, Sean.
Ooh, Hill up on the fescue there. Oh, so close. Almost gets the rear bumper of Kyle Cameron. Hill looks to go to the inside. Here comes Alan Elwood. I told you not to sleep on him. Here he comes. The number 42.
Elwood is now the fastest car on the racetrack as well, because he's in the 1:07.1s last time by. That is 0.4 faster than Hill. That is a full second faster than your current leader. So this is going to be a very intense final few laps, 5 laps to go.
David Washington had trouble back down in turn 1. He wrecked it there, but no caution flags as we continue to roll here. Looks like Jesse Abraham just had contact with the 4. Him and William Locklear got into it in the infield. Stay on the leaders. Hill coming around the outside, looking for a move. Make it to the end with the lead.
I'm not sure at this point, because Cameron does have that aero damage on the back end that's hurting him, especially through NASCAR 3 and 4. But Elwood still has been the faster pace through the road course section compared to Hill. Hill's been faster through the oval section.
Hill still trying to make tracks on him, but nothing doing here yet. It's Elwood. Elwood made a little bit of contact with the wall coming across the stripe. Man, he gets a better run there through turn 1. He's all over Ryan Hill now, putting the pressure on. Cameron doing a really good job of staying composed here with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, that time by, because of the mistake with Hill and because of that contact, he was just a 1/10 faster than Elwood. So he's getting some luck here as Hill gets wide on the racetrack.
Oh, Elwood is off. Elwood is off. Lost it there coming off the turn. That's one of those uphill off-camber turns we talked about in the race intro. Ah, that bites him. And, man, it was a nice run there by Ethan Moore. I'm sorry, by Elwood.
Yeah,
oh, that leaves it.
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that throws his chances of competition for the win away, but watch Hill still. Hill still has that pace and does not have much damage. That is still helping him through the NASCAR oval. 2 laps to go.
Watch out. Listen, we've seen Ryan Hill win some crazy ones this season. This could be another crazy one here at the end. The white flag is gonna the white flag is gonna fly here when they get to the line.
Yeah, and right now I think Cameron has to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes, because Hill has been making a lot of them in the past couple laps. Just that time hit a speed bump, in fact, on the bottom of the racetrack. and that lost him a couple tenths. He's actually losing time now compared to the previous lap because of that one little bump that knocked the suspension loose. Look at what's going on, though, with
the battle for
P3.
third. Yeah, Moore trying to keep Andrew Payne from getting one more spot here. And right now, Payne has got the momentum off the top of the turn. Is it enough? It's not. He's going to run out of straightaway here. Ethan Moore's going to get there first. Moore locking him up a little bit behind him.
Yeah, but Sean, the white flag's out. The pressure's still on to try and get that victory and try and get as many points as possible. That's for sure. This battle keeps on intensifying up, but Cameron still, remember, has to try and hold on to Hill because Hill's been able to charge back and gain back all the time he lost in the previous lap.
Yeah, here we go. Ryan Hill's got just a couple more opportunities here. Not much. In fact, he's out of opportunities now. He's got to catch him on raw speed, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. Cameron got a great one up in a NASCAR 1, and now he's onto the backstretch, and he's got plenty of space in between. A half a second. He's got to keep it low here on the track. Getting through the turn, ride that white line, use that little bit of grip down there that's left here late in the race. He's going to come out of turn 4, and Kyle Cameron is going to win tonight from the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval. Ryan Hill's going to take a big second place. Let's look at this battle for third. And it's going to be Ethan Moore is going to get it. Alan Elwood will finish 4th, and Andrew Payne going to complete our top 5. Justin?
One heck of a race by far. Yes, there was a lot of attrition in the first few moments of this one, but to finish off like that with a lot of intense action, it just showed you had to make no mistakes in the final few laps of this one. And if you made no mistakes, like Kyle Cameron did, you can come away with the checker flag and celebrate under the fireworks.
And we get fireworks. Exactly. We get fireworks here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. But I'll tell you what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the results and driver interviews here in just a few minutes. Thanks for watching. Welcome back here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway here in North Carolina. And this was the completion of the AdPro 360 Cup Series. This is race number 2 in round 1 of the playoffs. And Kyle Kammer with a big win tonight. His first win in the Cup Series this season. Ryan Hill's going to bring it home in second in the Hill Coast Chevrolet. Ethan Moore going to get a third place finish tonight. He started all the way back in 15th, so good on him. Alan Elwood, 4th place. Andrew Payne, 5th tonight. 6th going to go to Richard Regan. Colton Salick will finish 7th. 8th is going to go to the 88 of Andrew Farnyars after winning the first 2 stages this evening. But remember, he's locked into the playoffs. 9th going to go to Gabe Wood. And Gerald Campbell going to round out your top 10. Justin?
Yeah, to quickly correct you, Dylan Jones was the one who won stage 2, but due to trouble, he finished off 15th, as you see. David Washington had a very rough night as well, finished off in 11th, while Gary Sexton came away 12th. William Locklear was able to recover to a 13th place finish, with Jesse Abraham 14th. As mentioned, Jones finished as the last car running on the lead lap in the 15th spot, and finishing off with DNFs tonight, Daniel E. Eberhard, after blowing an engine after having significant damage into the wall, then having significant damage added again, driving into the fence. He finished 7 laps down, with Eric Stanford finishing off 11 laps down tonight here, Sean.
Yeah, and thanks for having my back there. Dylan Jones, of course, yes, did win that second stage. It was not dominated by Farnyards. He started off up front and had a good run about halfway through that stage, but well, let's talk to Kyle Kammer. He won this race. He deserves to be up here, so let's get him in. Let's talk to him. Kyle, congratulations on a big win tonight from the Roval at Charlotte Motor Speedway. How'd you do it?
Well, we had a lot of luck on our side, and then just blocking like crazy against Hill and Elwood. I knew they were coming on fresh tires, just doing everything we could to keep them behind us.
Yeah, it seemed like Hill did just about everything he could imaginable to try and get by you there in the end, but the end of the race, you guys finally got a nice green flag run there to kind of sort things out. Is that what you needed to get the win? Is a solid green flag run to the checkers, or you think you might have been able to hold them off had we gotten another restart?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. I'm thankful for the green flag run we had at the end, and once I got out front, I'm just praying no more cautions, no more cautions. It seemed like there were so many of those tonight, but man, I'm just real excited to win the playoff race here and punch our ticket to the next round. I'm going to Vegas tomorrow to celebrate. Bringing all the boys with me. Got the big thanks to my sponsor, Box Crush, Interstate Batteries, and Aegis, all the guys over at Aegis, Dave Washington, Andrew Freenars, Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt, Eric Stanford, Ross Cato. All those guys have been teaching me for the last year and a half, and I could not have done this without their help. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's your first win here on the Cup side this season. Listen, man, that is a big deal. You beat some dudes tonight to get to the front there. Now, I do notice that you do have a little bit of road experience. I mean, when I look at your numbers, your iRating and your safety rating, you're not horrible on the road side. So what'd you do to get ready for this one, especially with the conditions we were dealing with tonight? Obviously, the track dark, but it wasn't too dark, was it?
No, I know that some guys were having trouble seeing. I didn't have any trouble at all with the lighting. And yeah, I come from real world road racing background, so when we get into these kind of races, Watkins Glen and Road America and races like this, I get really excited about it. Yeah.
How's that new Camaro ZL1 handle on the road?
It's awesome. I don't know if it's the new build or just having the new car, but from practice the other night to with the SS to running with the Camaro tonight, I mean, it just handled so much better. I think we picked up a 2.5 seconds on lap times just from the new build or the new car. I'm not sure which one it was.
Well, listen, Kyle, congratulations. Get to Vegas, go celebrate, have a good time, and we will see you next week, hopefully back here on Thursday night.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you guys at GSRC, all the fans at SSCA. Really enjoy running in this league. It's such a great time. Thanks, guys. All
right, and our thanks to Kyle Kammer, our big winner tonight, Justin. I think you've caught up with the man who was chasing him in Ryan Hill.
Yes, indeed, I did, Sean. Ryan, coming away second tonight. How are you feeling after coming away with a second-place finish after starting in the outside front row?
I want to say I'm happy, but I'm also disappointed too because I knew we had one of the fastest cars, if not the fastest car. I just had a little mess up with qualifying to miss the pole, but had the tires at the end to do it. But I was doing qualifying laps just trying to catch up to Kyle, and a couple mistakes here and there. And Alan, he's trying to go for a win too. I cooked off my tires and I just couldn't do anything with them.
I was just about to ask about what was going on in those final few laps because you were catching up and then fell off. What was going through your mind as that was going on and trying to make sure, again, you didn't overcook those said tires while, as you said, running the qualifying laps?
Yeah, it was mainly I wanted to get by Kyle as quick as possible because I knew Alan was coming, but I knew Kyle was on older tires and he was going to be trying to do everything he can to keep me behind. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't like him for that, but he took the inside away from me going into the corner, and I didn't really trust anybody, myself included, going too wide into turn one. I saw that, we kind of saw that can be bad a few times. So I kind of didn't want a chance at doing that, and then, a little bit of mess up here and there just cost me too much time.
And let's also talk about the race itself because it was a lot of action, to say the very least. How did you feel you handled it with the amount of attrition going on around you, to say the very least, tonight?
I think I did pretty well, to be honest with you. I went into it kind of hoping just to survive the race, put in a few laps of practice, and then once we found out that we were P1 in practice, and then, small little mistake, and then we ended up P2 in qualifying. And then run the whole first stage, really, in second place behind Andrew. I mean, I knew I had a fast car. It was just about trying to keep it clean, and then everybody's on different pit strategies, and it throws you in the back of the pack, and then you go in the middle of the pack, and then you have to try to fight your way up, and then everybody. It was fun, a little nerve-wracking, but it was a lot of fun. But it will probably be a lot more nerve-wracking next race when we go to Talladega. So this was kind of the calm before the storm.
That was going to be my next question. What's your strategy for Talladega to manage that calm before that storm, rather?
It's same thing as tonight, man. You just got to survive. Unfortunately, we haven't got a win, but we got a second or third and a second or second. I don't know. We finished top two. We got some stage points, so hopefully we got a big enough gap going in there. We just got to survive, click off a couple stage points in the first two stages, and then if we bring home a top 10 and we beat some of the key guys that we need to, that they have to win to get in, that's kind of the main goal, is just make sure that they don't win to knock me out or just survive the race and we get in on points, or heck, I don't know, anything can happen at Talladega. I might win the thing.
Anything can happen. It's going to be a wild one for sure with Talladega. Anyone you want to thank or anything you want to say before we let you go tonight?
Yeah, just thank Hilco Disposal Recycling for their sponsorship this year, Chevrolet. Not running the new Camaro. We're just going to stick with the SS for the rest of this year. We're a small team, low budget, that kind of stuff. You guys for putting on a great broadcast. Gary over at SSCA. All the drivers we raced with tonight, overall, I think it was a good race. But, we'll come back next race, and we're probably going to try to put this old 55 car on victory lane.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Congratulations on the top 3 finish tonight.
All right, thank you. Y'all have a good one.
You too. That was Ryan Hill, who finished off second tonight from the outside front row. Sean?
And the Hilco Chevy just keeps burning up this track. But speaking of burning up the track, let's talk to Ethan Moore. Because, man, you had a pretty exciting trip around this place this evening, starting back in 15th. You had to come through all of it, buddy. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. It's been a good time talking to you guys the last couple of weeks. But, yeah, I definitely seen the back end of every car out there tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, yeah, you had a chance to check them all out. Some nice paint jobs on some of those new Camaros. How do you think you fared this evening in your Camaro?
We were fast in practice, had a mistake in qualifying, had to start at the back, and we worked our way up through the field, 3-4 times. So that's a win in any instance. Wish we could have got the actual win. We got the lead there once, and there was a little incident behind us. Someone got a little antsy, but it is what it is, and we took a third. Great points night, and it takes that pressure off at Talladega for sure.
Yeah, where of course we know anything can happen, right? And but the IRAP Chevy, the new ZL1 looked pretty hot there on track tonight. And how much practice did you get to put down and racing in the dark? How did that really affect much for you, or was your vision pretty good?
I probably put in at least 150, 200 laps in the last, week or so. So it could have been pitch black out there. I'm pretty sure I knew where the line was at that point. But it was fun, man. It was a blast. I had a great time out there. All the cars looked cool in the dark, and the Air Force IRAP Chevy got it done,
Well, listen, man, it was a good race tonight. This configuration, we hadn't done it before, and I got to ask you before we let you go, what was the most challenging, the toughest part of this race tonight?
I think it was just staying alive. I think that was the hardest thing. Getting through turn one was just a nightmare. It was I definitely hit that wall at least once with the front end of the car, but like I said, we kept it rolling. So I think that was about the most difficult part there.
All right, Ethan, I'm going to ask you one more question. Are you left-handed?
I'm not.
All right. What's the lefty on the car mean then?
You know what? You'll have to talk to Gary Sexton about that because he painted this bad boy last night.
Okay. Well, then I will have to. I thought maybe, all right, another lefty. I happen to be one, and I'm thinking, someday the left-handers are going to take over the world. I don't know if anybody ever told you that, but anyway, I thought it was worth an ask. Hey, listen, congratulations on a podium finish and getting those good points heading to what's going to be a pretty tricky race next week when we get to Talladega.
Thanks, brother. I just want to take a shout out there for you guys, putting on a great broadcast every week. CCR, all the guys over there, Gary Sexton, Ryan Hill, Alan Elwood's been helping out a lot here lately. And even Gabe Wood, man, he's been doing a lot for us too. So it's been a good team effort out there.
All right. Well, folks, that is Ethan Moore, and a great race by him this evening. But it has come to that time in the broadcast where we're going to give you a release. We're going to tell you need to go over to GSRC, the Global Sim Racing channel. We've got another live stream going right now. Just started. The Lionheart Retro Series is on track and getting ready. You can go see them now. Full field of Lotus 79 cars tonight at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 250 miles. Justin, thanks for joining us tonight and helping us out here. We really appreciate it. But most importantly, we want to thank AdPro 360. They are the title sponsor of this series, and they're an advertising agency specializing in digital and social media marketing. For more information, go to adproresults.com. We also want to thank the Simulated Stock Car Association, to everyone over there at the SSCA for organizing the AdPro 360 Cup Series and contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. On the screen now are just some of the company's equipment and software that made this broadcast possible. And of course, that iconic original music that lets your ears alert your eyes that you're watching a GSRC production comes courtesy of Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde. See the screen for how to contact each of them. Now, the SSCA Cup Series returns in 1 week, September the 13th. That's a Thursday, not a Friday. For race number 3 in round 1 of the playoffs from the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway and Talladega Boulevard. Oh boy, you don't want to miss that. GSRC will be there to bring you all the action. We hope you join us. Sliding across your screen now are some of the upcoming broadcasts we've got for you here in this wonderful Week 13. Check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. Remember, it's a huge weekend here on GSRC. 5 great Week 13 events for you. Don't miss any of them. If you'd like to find out more about us, including a complete list of featured broadcasts, go to our website, globalsimracingchannel.com, or better yet, look right here on YouTube. While you're here, hit the red subscribe button, and then go to our page, look at the upcoming broadcasts that we've got going there, and hey, feel free to surf through our archive. We've got over 1,500 videos dating back almost 5 years for you to watch. Finally, on behalf of the crew, Justin Prince, our director Joe Peak, and our camera artist Dougie Beard, I'd like to thank all of you for watching tonight. Get on over to the Lionheart Lotus 79 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.